Okay, welcome to the How to End Homework Battles webinar. I'm James. I'm really excited to have you here with me today. Today we're going to be talking about how to help make homework less of a frustrating experience, both for your child and for you. So here's how this online workshop is going to work today. You're going to learn how to spend less time on homework and still get it done while still getting better grades in the process. So that's our goal for today, and we're going to do that by first talking about the three most common homework battles that you're probably engaging in right now. After we go over those, I'm going to be giving you homework solutions. We're going to be using structures, systems, and resources to help cure your homework ailments. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, here are the homework solutions that we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to talk about how to create the right systems and structures to automate the homework practice so it becomes a routine for your child. Then we're going to talk about the best ways that you can help with homework so that you and your child aren't spending time butting heads, but you can give them some resources and they can be independent. And then finally, we're going to be talking about what to do if there's too much homework. All right, I don't know why this goes. Okay, here we go. But before we get into it, you may be wondering, who is this guy? Why is he talking to me? And, well, allow me to introduce myself. That's me. I'm James. I'm the special learning teacher. And I know it's not everybody's dream job, but I've always wanted to be a special education teacher. And this is the reason why. This is my older brother, Ethan, and he has Down syndrome. And he's one of my favorite people in the world. But it breaks my heart because when he was going to school, my parents always had to fight to get him the education that he really deserved. A lot of times his teachers would see him for his disabilities and not really see his potential. So as a family, we really had to get together and provide him the learning opportunities that he was being denied at school. The teachers would spend all their time talking to my parents about, don't bother trying to teach him how to read. He'll never learn how to read. Why are you trying to teach him how to tie his shoes? He'll never have a concept of time. Don't bother sending him with a watch. So that didn't sit well for us as a family. So we all got together and decided he was going to learn these things anyway. And to this day, he reads, he'll read the newspaper, he'll read playbills because he loves local theater. He ties his shoes, he's always on time to work because he always has his watch and he always knows what time it is. So he really is my inspiration, and it's important because everybody is brimming with potential, and Ethan is really the person who helped me to see that. Now, I want to share with you my manifesto. If you go to Special Learning Teacher and you go to the About Me page, you can see this is my manifesto. These are the things that I believe in and that I live by every day. And if I could boil everything down to maybe just one sentence, I would say your child is brimming with potential. And that's by far the most important thing that I believe in. Okay? So I just wanted to share that. Oh, also, here is my Facebook page. You can go on Facebook and like my page. You can read all the articles that I post. I even post my blog posts from time to time. So do please check it out. And so that being said, I've been involved in special education in a lot of ways ever since I was a little kid. I've been a Special Olympics spectator, volunteer, and coach ever since I was 9 years old. I love Special Olympics, can't say enough about it. It inspired me to go on and get a career in special education. So right out of college, I worked for 2 years as a behavioral clinician at the Kegel Autism Center. Now there they give parents tools and resources to do interventions with their child, even when the clinician isn't there. So in my role, I did a lot of parent education, and I loved that. And it inspired me to go on and get my master's of special education. I went to Vanderbilt University with the goal of becoming a teacher. And right now, I am a middle school special education teacher in my hometown in Honolulu, Hawaii. You can see we're over there at Manoa Falls. But I teach special education math, but I'm highly qualified to teach middle school math and middle school English language arts. So as a teacher, one of the things that I understand better than most is that homework is no fun. I get that. Unfortunately, even though nobody likes homework, it's not going to go away. The fact of the matter, homework is here to stay. You may have even noticed that more and more teachers are assigning more and more homework to younger and younger kids. So if anything, the problem is only going to get worse. So what I want to do today is I want to give you some strategies to help. I want to take a lot of the pain out of the homework, and I'm going to show you in just a little bit exactly how we're going to do that. What I want for you is no more fussing and fighting. I want your child to be independent, confident, and, to get better grades. So that's the goal. We're going to work together to increase the confidence and independence of your child. And we're going to do that by talking about the 3 most common pitfalls or battles that you're probably encountering right now. And then I'm going to be showing you some solutions. So first off, let's talk about these 3 most common homework pitfalls. The first one involves executive functioning difficulties. Now, don't be afraid. I know that's a big, clunky sentence, but basically what it means, it's the cognitive skills involved in planning something out, figuring out how much time homework is going to take. It also involves organization, maybe figuring out which homework they should start with. And it also involves impulse control. Now, I include that lying about homework because that's where impulse control comes into play. If your child comes home from school and the first thing you ask them is, "Do you have any homework?" their answer is most likely no. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I'll bet they didn't even think about it. They just said, "Oh, no, Mom." The reason why is not because they're trying to deceive you. They're not trying to trick you. They're not challenging your intelligence. They're just saying the magic word that they think is going to allow them to play video games right now. Okay? They're not really planning ahead. They're not figuring out, oh, what if Mom figures out that I do have homework? Well, then she's going to be mad. No, they're not thinking ahead. They're just saying the answer right here, right now, that lets them put off homework for a little bit. So the second most common pitfall or difficulty with homework is helping. Now, I know that may seem a little counterintuitive, but a lot of parents see their child struggling with homework, and they sit down and they do their best to help them get the right answers. However, I've seen in a lot of cases that backfires for a number of different reasons. But suffice it to say that I'm going to be showing you some resources and strategies so that you can help your child with their homework without having to be quite so hands-on. So what I'm saying is I don't want you to teach your child how to do their homework. I want you to provide resources so that they can figure it out for themselves. Okay? And then the third most common pitfall is too much homework. All right? I'm sure that some of you are dealing with this right now. And there's not a lot that your child can do There's not a lot that you can do by yourself. It's going to involve a conversation with the teacher. So as a teacher, I know exactly how you can bring up the conversation in a highly successful way. So I know a lot of times when you bring up the fact that, oh, I think there's a lot of homework, some teachers may just dismiss that outright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a strategy in just a little bit, how to present your concern in a way that the teacher can't dismiss it or ignore it. All right. So those are the three most common homework battles that some of you, I'm sure, are fighting right now. Let's go ahead and talk about the solution for these three battles. For executive functioning difficulties, the solution is structures and systems. Basically, we're going to automate the homework process. We're going to take the decision making out of it. We're going to make it so that you don't have to do any detective work. We're going to set things up so that homework just gets done, like clockwork. Okay. The second solution that we're going to talk about, and this is for when you're helping your child with their homework, I'm going to give you resources for reading, writing, and math. And these resources are designed to provide a little bit of extra support, but also to encourage your child to still continue to do it by themselves. So we're giving them support and increasing independence at the same time. Then the third solution we're going to talk about is evidence collection, okay, and how to talk to the teachers. If your child has too much homework, I'm going to show you how to collect evidence so that when you present your concerns to the teachers, they can see exactly what you're trying to say without getting into a, well, you know, you might be exaggerating. Okay, so I'm giving you the tools that you're going to need to completely bypass that argument. All right, so without any further ado, let's get into it. What do you say? So this first section is about structures and systems. Look at this kid. He doesn't know what to do. He's got his homework, but he doesn't know where to start. He's just staring off into space. These structures and systems will help him and your child too. So the first thing we need is a sterile workspace. It's pretty basic. Just get a nice, big, clean, good writing surface. You don't want clutter, and you don't want screens. That means no computers, no iPads, no cell phones. Okay, get those out of there because the internet is terribly distracting. But the reason why it needs to be a nice big space is so that your child can take out their notebook, they can take out their folders, they can take out their planners, they can take out their textbooks and have all these resources in front of them, because you're going to want them to be able to use as many of these in-class resources at the same time as possible. So that's why you need a sterile workspace, a designated space that they go to every time they're going to do their homework. Now, we talked about the same place every time. We're going to also have your child be working at the same time every day. Same thing, same place, same time, every day. Doesn't matter what time, as long as that time is good for your family's schedule. Could be right after school. Could be right after dinner. If your child is a really, really early morning person, they could get it done before breakfast. But chances are that's not the case. Okay, so find a time that works for you. Then, once you have the same place, same time, you're going to make sure that you have supplies ready, okay? Get a little basket from Walmart, put a few plastic cups inside, and fill each of those cups with a different supply. You're going to need pencils, pens, markers, colored pencils, erasers, pencil sharpeners, everything that your child will need to get homework done. Ooh, maybe highlighters, okay? This supplies caddy is only used for homework. If it's used for fun art projects, you're going to find that the supplies are disappearing really quickly. The reason why we want the supplies available is because if your child has a regular place and a regular time, but they leave it, standing up 14 times during homework to go get their pencils sharpened. They need to find an eraser. It's going to mess with the whole process. So we want them to sit down, get started, and not leave until they're just about done. Okay. Now, finally, the last structure is music. Now, this is different for every child. You'll find a lot of different research that argues it's good, it's not good. I've found, for me personally, that music without lyrics can really help some kids focus better. I say without lyrics because once you have lyrics, your brain gets distracted. Your brain has a harder time focusing on the reading because these words that are coming in your ear, your brain wants to figure out, what is she saying? What is going on there? So I would highly recommend, if you're doing music, try music without lyrics. Could be classical music, could be EDM, it could be, I don't know, any other kind of music that simply doesn't have lyrics. There's this website that I'm going to be sending you in an email. Afterwards, I'm going to send you an email with all the resources that we're talking about today. One of them is a link to video game music. Now, video game music is designed to keep your attention, to keep you focused without being overbearing. So I'll send you a link to a website that has a really cool video game music link. Another good music resource is Pandora's Relax Station. If your child gets anxious while doing homework, this might help to kind of soothe those anxiety attacks. And then Spotify has a study station, which is basically everybody putting together their favorite study music, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, so those are the structures. Now we're going to talk about systems. These systems are, again, pretty straightforward. This is the most important thing, though, that we talk about all day, is the communication system. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to get your child a planner. Usually schools provide planners for you, right? Then your child has to write down the homework every day for every subject. This is important. They can't skip some subjects or only write half of their homework, all right? They have to write every subject every day. The reason why is because if they're not writing some of the homework, it might be because they're trying to skip that homework. So even if they don't have any assigned homework, they have to write down no HW. All right. If they're having a hard time of filling it out themselves, you can get the teachers to sign the planners. Now, it's still going to be your child's responsibility to bring the planners to the teachers, but as long as they're finding a time that's not disrupting class time, you're going to find that the teachers are really receptive to helping you help your child get their homework done. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is an implementation system. Once your child knows what the homework is, they may get stuck. They may not know where to start. So this is what you do. Just take a paper, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many subjects that your child has. They look at their planner and they write down subject number 1, subject number 2, subject number 3, subject number 4, subject number 5. Then they'll work on that first subject for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, they take a break. Then they'll work on the next subject for 20 minutes and take a break. Now, the 20 minutes is flexible. Older children, obviously, should work longer. Children who have a hard time with attention focus might go a little bit lower, but 20 minutes is a pretty good time. Most kids can focus for 20 minutes. I'd recommend having a digital timer so that they can see the 20 minutes clocked down. They'll also kind of reduce some anxiety as far as if they have executive functioning difficulties. A lot of kids with ADHD don't quite know how much time has passed. So having that clock tick down can help them to focus. Oh no, I've only got 5 more minutes. I've really got to focus on this right now. Okay. And then again, with the breaks, 5 to 10 minutes depends on your child, maybe more, maybe less. I highly recommend involving physical activity, push-ups, wall sit-ups, squats, whatever, running around the table 50 times. The reason why you get some blood flowing to the brain, it's easier to focus. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so we're going to talk about the last system, and that is a reward system. Boom. Okay, sorry, there's a lot of text that came up at once. So stick with me here. I'll go through it quickly. You want to reward the biggest struggle. All right, so if your child is having a hard time writing down all their homework, give them rewards for every signature that they get from a teacher. Okay, conversely, if your child is able to do that, but can't quite finish all of their homework, you're going to reward each subject that they finish. Okay, now keep in mind the rewards have to be worth it. Your child has to be willing to work for them. Don't offer your kid M&Ms if they hate M&Ms. Okay, and on the flip side, if you offer a reward for a certain behavior like completing homework, you have to be willing to withhold that reward if they're not meeting their goals. So if they didn't complete their homework, they don't get the reward. So make sure that when you're planning it out, that you can be consistent, because consistency is key here. Now, there are two kinds of rewards. There's the immediate and the delayed. Immediate rewards are daily rewards. You get something done, you get the reward. Bam, like clockwork, just like that. The delayed rewards are longer rewards. They're bigger rewards. So if you're hitting weekly targets, like finishing all your homework for all your classes every week, congratulations, you've earned a big prize. You can go out to Chuck E. Cheese, or you can go for a family trip to the movies. They don't have to be expensive. You can choose things that are free as long as your child is willing to work for them. And I think you'd be surprised that a lot of times kids are very motivated to spend time with their family. So anytime you're able to make it a family event, I'd highly recommend making a family outing out of it. Okay? So those were the structures and the systems. And I'll be sending you all these slides. So if I'm going a little quick, don't worry, you'll be able to go through it at your own pace. All right, but right now we're going to get into how to help with homework. I'm really excited to share some of these resources that I've found and made for you guys, because I think that this could make a really big difference for your child. And this is important. I want to help you help your child without you having to do it yourself. Okay, so before we get into the resources, we need to be on the same page. So I have some things to consider. First off, your child should be able to do homework independently. Now, I say should because we know that's not always the case, right? But when your child's teacher is assigning homework, they are hoping that the children can do it by themselves. Okay? They're not intending for mom and dad to have to sit down and reteach the child. The teacher understands that it's a teacher's job to teach and the parent's job to parent. So while the homework is going on, you shouldn't have to be able to help them. Okay? Now this goes into our next point. Homework doesn't have to be right. It just has to be done. So it's okay if your child is getting the wrong answer. It's okay if they're frustrated and trying stuff that's not quite working, okay? It's all right for them to have the wrong answer, because when they bring that homework that is wrong to the teacher can see, oh boy, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to go over before we move on, right? And that's actually a good thing, because your teacher is going to be able to change the instruction and give your child the support that they need. Okay, so your teacher will be doing the teaching and you don't have to. All right. Also, it's a great opportunity to learn perseverance. If they don't know what to do and they're trying, but it's not quite working out, that's actually a really good skill to learn, is not to give up just because they're not getting it right away. I love to give the example of a bicycle. Kids understand this. Nobody is born knowing how to ride a bike. They have a general idea. You sit on the seat, you steer the handles, you push the pedals. But once they get on, what's the first thing that happens? They fall over. Then they get up, they go again, they fall over, etc., 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 right? Learning is the same way. Just because it's in a classroom doesn't mean that it can't follow the same patterns. They have to learn how to fail, and then they'll learn from that failure to get better. All right? So perseverance, sticking with things, and if you agree to all these things, if you agree that you can abide by these concepts, then these resources are really going to help you out. Okay, so here's a picture. Child's frustrated, parents frustrated, nobody knows what to do. Let's fix that. So we're going to help with 3 main types of homework assignments, okay? You're going to have reading assignments. When you're reading fiction, usually that's English language arts. When you're reading nonfiction, that's usually science and social studies. And I'm going to be giving you resources for each of these. Interestingly enough, the strategies used for one are completely different from the strategies that you would use for another. So I'm really excited to show you those resources. But first, writing. We have to understand that writing can be in any subject. As a math teacher now, they're giving me a lot of pressure. You have to have your kids writing more in math. Okay, so I'll be giving you a resource, 2 resources actually, that can be used to write an essay that would be good for any subject. And then finally, we have math, and math is math. It's my favorite, and I can't wait to share with you what we have for math. But first, let's talk about how to help with reading fiction. Your child's going to need help with 1 of 2 things. Either getting the reading done in the first place, and we do that by using a daily reading log. I have a resource for you. I'm going to be showing it to you in just a little bit. But all you're going to do is have your child record the date, the time they started, the time they stopped, the pages they read, and a space for you to sign it. When you're signing it, you're going to look at the pages read, the time, and you're going to look for anomalies. If they read 100 pages in 5 minutes, you know something fishy is going on. So that's your responsibility. Just make sure that it's a reasonable amount that they read for the amount of time that they were reading. Then they're going to need help paying attention to the right details. I've got 2 resources for you. One that the student is going to be using all by themselves. It's based on the Common Core, and it shows them what expert readers think while they're reading. Then your resource is very similar, but it's designed to engage your child in conversations about their reading. It models how to ask these questions. So I'm going to take you out of this PowerPoint right now. I'm going to show you just what I'm talking about. Here's the daily reading log. You can see every day they write down the date, they write down the book title, the page they started on, the page they ended at, time start, time end, parent initials. Easy, right? Just print a couple of these and you've got, almost a month's worth right there, okay? Then you have how to be an expert reader. These are questions that the reader is asking themselves as they read. So as you can see, they have some questions to ask before they even start reading, okay? Then once they are reading, they're going to stop at the end of each page, choose one of these questions, ask themselves that question. Now, most of the time, if they choose a question and they're not able to answer it, it's a prompt to go back and reread. Rereading is a skill that expert readers use all the time. So that's why I want these kids to be asking themselves these questions so that they can see, maybe I need to reread. Then at the end of the chapter, we're talking about some specific questions that sum up the most important ideas that they just read about, okay? Now, here's your piece, the questions to ask a young reader. So if you take an interest in their reading, they're more likely to be excited about it. So these questions are based on the Common Core. Now, one thing that's important, this is designed to help you engage in a conversation, not for you to play teacher. Does that make sense? You're just going to ask them questions. listen to their answers, and ask them follow-up questions. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to, judge their answers, but you might want to ask them follow-up questions. For example, if they're getting a completely different answer than you expected, you might say, can you show me where in the text you're getting that idea from? Because that's an interesting idea and I want to learn more about it. So these 3 resources, I made them from scratch. I'm very proud of them. I can't wait for you to get your hands on them. I'll be emailing them to you very shortly. Let's get back to it. Okay, so this is reading fiction. Now we're going to talk about reading nonfiction. 2 strategies. First one is pre-reading strategies. Simple. Look at all the pictures. Read all the captions. Then you read all the headings and all the titles. If there are words in bold, it might do well to read those sentences surrounding those bolded words. Then when you get to the end, you haven't read any real text, just the little captions and headlines and bold sentences. And you just ask yourself, well, what is it that I'm going to be reading about? What is the one big thing that I am supposed to learn from this reading section? Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and read and start using these highlighting or note-taking strategies. I know not everybody gets to highlight in their textbooks, but you could use this strategy with the note-taking and it works just as well. So in each section, right, you're going to read through the whole section first. Okay. Then you're going to highlight the most important sentence in each paragraph. Okay. What I have on the screen is a little bit more basic. Okay. You're only going to choose one sentence from the one most important paragraph. It's a little bit easier if you just highlight one sentence for every paragraph. Okay. Then in your notes, you're going to write down the heading, and then you're going to rephrase that one sentence in your own words. So without looking, you're not copying, you're rephrasing. Okay. Then you do that for the next section all the way through. And by the time you get done with that entire section, what you have is a super condensed version of everything that you just read, written in your own words, in your own handwriting. So when you go back to study, you don't even need to open up the textbook. You have it right there in your notes. And it's going to be way easier for you to remember because you wrote it. Those were your words. That's your understanding. So that note-taking strategy got me through college. It works really well. I stand by it 100%. It's slower. It takes more time. But in the long run, it saves you from having to reread that same passage again and again, right? You just reread it essentially twice, okay? So that was reading nonfiction. Now we're going to talk about writing. So I've got 2 graphic organizers. In just a second, I'll be showing them to you. And again, yes, you will be getting these graphic organizers in an email. So the first graphic organizer helps you organize your ideas. It's a pre-writing activity just to get your ideas down. And then you're going to take those ideas and plug and chug them into a paragraph writing structure graphic organizer. It's really cool. I can't wait to show you. So you use the first one to model your ideas, the second one to get it into a basic paragraph structure. And give me just a second. This is it. This is your ideas. You can see I got it from readwritethink.org. It's a great website with some good resources. But this is how it works. You write down your topic or theme here. So let's say we're writing about deserts. Okay. Then you say what it is about those deserts. There's types, there's animals, and there's, I don't know, plants. Okay. Okay, so these are the subcategories. These are the main ideas. This is what I want to talk about deserts. Then we go into specific details. We take these main ideas. There's Sahara, there's Gobi, And Antarctica. Did you know that Antarctica is a desert? Fascinating. Then there's things like snakes, I don't know, fennel fox. And then there's cacti and cacti and cacti. Okay? So you can see very basically, this is how you use it. You might only need the top half right here, but if you really want to flesh out a lot of different ideas, you can. Then what you're going to do is you're going to plug these ideas, okay, level 1, level 2, level 3, into this essay map. So that topic that we talked about, deserts, you're going to write, a sentence about deserts, one of those that encapsulates the entire ideas of what you're going to talk about here. Okay, then you talk about your different categories, all right, animals, types, and plants. Plants, yep, spelling. Then here go your supporting details. This is the fennel fox and the snakes. This is the Gobi Desert. Desert, only one S because it's a desert. Sahara and Antarctica. Well, you get the idea, right? And then here, this is your main idea again, but stated kind of at the end. All right, so whatever it is that we want to say about deserts. This is the standard 5-paragraph essay. Here's your introduction. Here's your first paragraph. Here's your second paragraph, third paragraph, and first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph, fifth paragraph. Excuse me, I can't count right now. I don't know why. All right, so that's the writing. It works really well. These two especially together, you just take these ideas. All you got to worry about is the ideas. Then you plug them into this structure, and all you got to worry about is the structure. Then finally, you take these and write full sentences with them, and boom, you have yourself a 5-paragraph essay. All right, so let's get back to the presentation. Okay, so that's writing. That's how to help with writing without even really having to help with writing. Now, let's talk about math. As a math teacher, I have a favor to ask, okay? Please let your child get the wrong answers on the homework, all right? It's okay to let them fail. It's okay if they get the wrong answers on all of the homework, all right? And here's why. If your child doesn't know how to do the homework, the teacher needs to know, all right? Because we look at the homework and we see, okay, this kid can do it, this kid's struggling, these are the wrong answers that people are getting, and we adjust instruction in a way to meet those needs. So if you're helping your child to get the right answers on homework, we're not able to see how we can better help your child. Does that make sense? Okay. If a teacher sees a wrong answer, we know what to do. If they're getting all right answers, we can't figure out exactly how we can help. All right. Here's another thing to consider. The way that the Common Core is asking questions now is different from the way that you and I learned when we were going to school. Okay, it's completely different. The focus is on the process, not the product. Most often, a kid can't get the right answer unless they explained how they got the right answer using the mathematical principles that we're learning about in class. Okay, it's a lot more complex, and I've heard a lot of parents have a hard time helping their child because they're not familiar with how the questions are being asked. And finally, we want to prevent learned helplessness. Okay, it's this particular problem for math. It's a phenomenon where the student just doesn't get started because they're not confident that they can finish by themselves. It's if you give a kid a homework and they'll raise their hand before they even look at it and be like, I need help. Like, okay, how can I help you? I don't know how to do this. Okay, have you started? No. Have you tried? No. So how am I going to help you? I don't know. Show me how to do it. You know what I mean? So they want somebody to do it for them essentially, right? And we have to break them of that habit by teaching them, no, you have to try. You have to get the wrong answer, because it doesn't matter if you're only trying on the problems that you know how to get right. Does that make sense? We want them to try the problems they don't know how to do yet, because that's where the learning potential is, right? If they're trying and they're failing, they're getting closer to succeeding, right? So I'm a big fan of building their self-efficacy to boost their confidence. What that means is teaching them how to solve difficult problems, teaching them how to be successful. And then from there, once they've had those successes, that's where the confidence comes from. I've known a lot of teachers and a lot of well-meaning adults who want to boost a child's confidence by telling them how great they are, hoping that maybe they'll start trying on difficult things because they're confident. I believe, personally, it's the other way around. They have to learn how to deal with difficult things, and then from there, that's where confidence comes from. Okay, so now that we're on the same page with math, hang on, don't worry. I do have a math resource for you. It's a fantastic math resource. It's called khanacademy.com. I've used it with a lot of my different students. And when you click into Khan Academy, this is what you're going to get. All right, you're going to have this front page. Now, don't be worried about it. You don't have to sign in. You can log in. It's free. It's phenomenal. But if you just want help with the subjects, you go over here. You can see they have math, science, all sorts of other stuff, but we're just concerned with math here. Choose a grade level. Let's say your child is in 6th grade. Boom, 6th grade. Now you have every kind of math problem that your child is going to encounter as a 6th grader. So let's say, data and statistics. Okay, your child needs help with statistics. Each one of these is a little mini unit. They're going to show you everything you need to know about mean and median. They're going to have all the things you need to know about statistical questions. And best yet, they have, you see how these are little arrows? Might be hard to see. That's a video. You see how this is a little star? That is a math problem. So here, I'll show you. I'll click on a video. You can see we can watch a video. We're not gonna watch a video, but he'll go on the screen and he'll
21.
Show you stuff.
Then we go, there's no 22 here.
Okay, he walks you through how to do a problem from start to finish. Very thorough, good instruction. Then once you're done with that, you get questions. And you can see here that they prompt you to get 5 correct in a row. They really want you to be successful. And if you're stuck, you have no idea how to do this, you have 2 options. You can watch the video that will show you how to do this type of problem, or you can say, help me, I need a hint. Then it gives you a hint. You can see we have 2 more hints left. It doesn't tell you everything just at once. Hint, hint, bam, there's the answer. I could plug that in. Now, obviously, it's not very helpful if I'm doing all the hints, but it won't give you a correct answer unless you are doing some aspect by yourself. Yay, next question. Okay, so that's Khan Academy. It's really cool, and if you do sign in, you see where they have unclaimed points. They'll give you points. They'll give you badges. It's almost like a video game. It can be addicting. And once you start getting a lot of points and a lot of badges, you just want to keep on going with it. So I can't say enough good things about Khan Academy, mostly because it's entirely free. So that is helping with homework. I'm going to send you all of those resources, including the links. So that email is going to be pretty hefty, but you can pick and choose what you want to use. Now, let's move on to talk about what to do when there's too much homework. Okay, and I know this can be a particular problem because there's not a lot of easy solutions. All right. Look, see, here's a sad kid. They've got too many books. Here's a kid who's just got so much work. He's not even going to get started. It may look familiar. It may feel familiar. I've seen that look before. Here we go. Too much homework. Now, Something that's important to note, most teachers, if you go up to them and say, hey, my kid has way too much homework, they'll most likely be willing to engage in a problem solving process. Okay, let's figure out how to make it easier, right? So give your teacher a little bit of credit. They might be one of these awesome teachers. However, not all teachers are this way. I don't know your child's teachers. However, they may assume that you as a parent are overestimating the amount of time, effort, or frustration that your child feels. Okay, they may say, "Oh, you're emotionally invested in this, so your opinion is a little bit flawed. You might be exaggerating, right?" That's a common dismissal that parents can get, and I don't want you to have to go through that and get shut down right away. But remember, you may be the only parent who's voicing this concern. You may be the only parent who's complaining. And this is important, not because your child is the only child who's struggling, but maybe because your child is one of the only children who's doing all of their homework, right? Okay, so from a teacher's perspective, just keep that in mind. Not every kid even tries to do all of their homework. So if you're the only parent voicing concern, it's important that you advocate, okay? Especially if your child has a disability. Modifications are very important. We want these kids to have success with school. And if a disability is getting in the way of completing a whole bunch of homework, we need to accommodate that. We need to find a modification that is appropriate, that helps them learn without making too much frustration. So, what do? You do this. I'm going to be providing all attendees today, all of the registrants who are watching this recording at home. You guys are going to get my evidence collection guide to make sure that your child's teacher knows exactly what you're going through. Now, this is a guide that I put together to help parents collect data that a teacher will respond to. As a teacher, we're always told data, right? We have to take information in. So I'm going to show you how to keep track of how long it's taking your child to do their homework. I'm going to show you how to keep track of how many times you've had to help them with their homework. I'm going to show you how to demonstrate to your teacher, demonstrate to your teacher how many problems your child is able to do by themselves and how many problems your child needed your help with, okay? So you want to make sure to collect evidence about how much time is spent, how much help they need. You can do this. I don't recommend it for everybody. You want to do this only if you have a level of trust with your teacher, okay? You could do an audio recording or a video recording to show exactly, qualitatively what it's like to be there with your child working on homework, okay? Now, the reason why I say you want to have a trusting relationship, because you don't want to invite unnecessary criticism, if that makes sense. So if you're recording something that's not doing so great, you don't want to show it to a person who might already have a contentious relationship with you. Does that make sense? Because they may just be like, be really quick to point out, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, right? So that's an option. It's not for everybody, but it is there. It's on the table. So I'll be sending you that evidence collection guide. I've tried to make it as simple to follow as possible, but of course, if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so that's it. That is all the information that I'm going to be presenting you today. Let's go ahead and sum it all up. What do you say? All right, so first thing we learned was, what are the 3 most common homework battles? Say it with me now. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to. The first most common homework battle was Executive functioning difficulties, planning out how much time they need, having the impulse control to tell the truth. Like, yes, mom, I do have homework. Yes, I should do it now, right? The third most common homework battle was too much homework. Okay, if your child is doing all these strategies, if they're working really hard and it's just taking way too long, you need to talk to your teacher about that. Okay, and here are the solutions to those three most common homework battles. Structures and systems to help automate the homework process. That way, your child doesn't have to plan out how much time they need. They don't have to decide, well, should I do homework now or should I play video games? All the decisions are made and the routine works like clockwork, right? Then we talked about homework resources. These resources are great because it provides your child with the extra support that they need, but it doesn't require you to be sitting over their shoulder showing them how to do everything hand over hand, right? Then finally, I'm giving to you the evidence collection guide that is a patented special learning teacher product. And it'll walk you through how to collect evidence so that you can provide the teacher with cold, hard facts that they can't dismiss and say, oh, you're exaggerating. You can say, no, look at the numbers, ma'am, because this is really something we need to discuss. Okay. And then from there, you can talk about modifications. Maybe your child only needs to do all the evens. Maybe they only need to do half of the homework. Okay. But that's a discussion to have with the teacher. And now it's your turn. All you got to do is use the resources I'm going to be sending you, look through the slides again, and choose some strategies and do your best. Okay, I know some of these strategies, they involve some patience. It involves some legwork on your part. But what I think is that if you choose a strategy that works best for you and your child, that's something that your child all you got to do is try it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe you're not able to do it every single day, but the more you do it, the more impact it'll have. And I've seen it work for a lot of my students that I have in my classroom, a lot of the students that I've worked with one-on-one. It can really make a difference for your child. One of the students that I worked with was in algebra, and he was getting a D. And we had 6 weeks before the end of the semester, the end of the year, actually. And from the time we started working together to this time we ended, he was able to raise his grade from a D to a B plus, including getting an A on that final exam. So these strategies, they work, they'll help. And I'm so excited that you are here to get these strategies. You guys are superstars to take time out of your day to sit down and listen to my scraggly voice as I walk you, just throw so much information at you. Okay. So if you have any questions about how to do any of these resources, send me an email. I respond to every single one within 24 hours. I really look forward to your questions. And thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do for your child. Okay, your dedication is admirable. Now, if you liked the information that we presented at this webinar, you're really going to like this information that I'm about to show you. Hang on. If you go to my webpage, this is the About Me page, speciallearningteacher.com, and you click on the Work With Me tab, I offer one-on-one math tutoring via Skype. So all you have to do is go to my website, click on the Work With Me tab at the top, and math tutoring is right here. Click on that, and you can see that usually what I offer is a 6-week program. Here's how it works. We start off with a 30-minute consultation, and we'll go over what are your goals with your child, and then I'll also have a informal learning style assessment. So I'll be actually talking with your child, asking your child, what is it that you need help with? How can I make a difference for you academically? And after that consultation, then we'll go over a 6-week lesson plan. Basically, each session is 60 minutes long. It's all held over Skype. And during each section, we can go over homework. We can go over quizzes and tests. We can do personalized math lessons. I've done remediation, filling in the gaps to help a child, catch up academically. I've also worked with children on enrichment. This one kid that I was working with really wanted to learn everything that he needs to know for pre-algebra in 6 weeks. And believe it or not, we actually got through it all with the help of Khan Academy. And then each session ends with an action plan for the following week. Basically, I'll give your child some homework that they can do to help them meet their goals. Now, you may notice right here, and I want to point this out, since you guys are here, you have been sticking with me, you've got all this information, you're the kind of parents that I want to work with. And as a thank you for registering for this webinar, I want to offer you an 8-week program for no additional charge. It's the same cost, it's the same benefits, but an extra 2 hours of direct tutoring. Okay, and then at the end of our 8 weeks together, we'll have a final 30-minute call to summarize the progress made. We'll talk about what strategies we used in our one-on-one sessions that you can continue to use at home to maximize the gains even after we're not working together anymore, right? And, I've had a lot of success with this. And so I just wanted to share a few things with you. This is a testimony from the parents of the child who learned pre-algebra in 6 weeks. Okay, that was a lot of fun, quite the challenge, but the kid really stepped up to the plate. This is from a family whose child was in 1st grade. They were still learning how to read. And at the time, just even reading 3-letter words was difficult for them. It turned into a battle, right? Like, just read it, just sound it out. No, I don't want to. And then by the end of the 6 weeks that we were working together, the child had actually brought Berenstain Bears to his mom and wanted to read it to her. Now, he had been making a lot of gains in a very short amount of time, but he still wasn't at the level where he could read every word in Berenstain Bears. Now, I tell you this because the most important part is that he tried. He wanted to. He did his best, right? And that's what this is all about, increasing the confidence through self-efficacy, all right? So that was one I was really proud of. It was great that the mom shared that with us. And then finally, this is the testimony from the child I was working with in Algebra 1. That was actually an honors class that he was in, but he was getting a D, and we were able to bump it up to a high B with a lot of test-taking strategies. I offer a lot of test-taking strategies. Again, I can customize to what it is that your child needs. So then, if you're on this page, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You can read at your leisure. But then if you want to go ahead and get started working with me, all you got to do is click this button right here at the bottom, insert your information, and we can get started. So I really look forward to seeing you. Oh, wait, one last thing. I want to offer you, since you're here, you're at a homework webinar, right? Which means that you might need some help with homework. So for no additional cost, if you want to do the math tutoring with me, I will throw in a 1-hour homework consultation. We'll talk about these strategies that I gave you, and I will help you to personalize them and implement them so that your child is getting the right homework strategies in a way that works best for them. Does that make sense? So, with the 8 weeks, with the consultations, with that extra 1-hour homework strategy session, you will get over 10 hours of working with me directly. And I really hope you take me up on this because I'm excited to hear from you. And again, if you have any questions about this, about homework, about these strategies, about IEPs, about any specific difficulty that you're having at home, please send me an email. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to help you out however I can. Okay? So again, thank you so much for being here. You're a superstar. I'm going to let you go now, but I hope you implement these strategies, because I think that if you do, you're going to see a lot of great results. Okay? Thank you for being here, and happy learning as always. Goodbye.